Chapter 2. The Weight of the Crown. Washington, D.C., the White House, West Sitting Room. Emily Morgan sat cross-legged on the oversized cream-colored couch, a book open in her lap, but her eyes unfocused. Outside the bulletproof windows, the south lawn basked in the glow of mid-morning sunlight. Marine One had just taken off a few minutes earlier, whisking her father away to Camp David. For a brief moment, the mansion felt less like a fortress and more like a house. Still, the silence wasn't comforting. Her mother's advisors bustled just down the corridor. Secret Service agents rotated positions in the hallway, and somewhere deep in the basement, intelligence briefings were being decoded and filed, all while Emily sat frozen in place, thinking about a stranger, with tired eyes and dirt beneath his fingernails. Nathan. She didn't know his last name. She didn't know where he went after she left the bench that evening. All she knew was that something in the way he looked at her, like she wasn't just the president's daughter, like she was a real person, had struck something deep in her chest. A knock tapped lightly on the doorframe. Emily looked up. Yeah? It was Helena, her mother's new assistant. Always sharply dressed, always speaking with the kind of firm politeness that made it feel like every sentence was a boundary. The First Lady's requesting your presence in the green room in 20 minutes. She's meeting with the Education Council. She wants you seated beside her. Of course she does, Emily muttered under her breath. Sorry? Helena blinked. Nothing, Emily said quickly. I'll be there. Helena nodded and vanished like a ghost. Emily dropped her book onto the coffee table with a sigh. She pulled her long dark hair into a ponytail and stood, walking over to the mirror above the fireplace. Her reflection stared back at her. Not quite the picture-perfect young woman painted in press releases and ceremonial galas. Not quite the rebel she felt inside, either. Just a girl caught between two worlds. A prisoner in pearls. Georgetown, that evening. Nathan pulled the collar of his jacket tighter around his neck as the evening breeze swept down the block. A woman passed him without looking, clutching her purse as if he might steal it. Another man stepped widely around him, muttering something under his breath. Nathan had long stopped taking it personally. He had stopped expecting kindness or softness until yesterday. He couldn't get her out of his mind. The girl in the park, with intelligent eyes and the kind of sadness only the truly lonely carry. Emily. He had almost asked her why she was sitting there. She looked too polished to belong to the cracked bench and graffiti-covered lampposts. But she hadn't flinched, hadn't judged him. She just sat and smiled. That kind of thing didn't happen in his world. He tucked the memory into the back of his mind like a treasure as he slid into the alley beside St. Augustine's Church, where Father Martin let him sleep when the shelter was full.
He tried not to hope she'd return. Hope was a luxury.
Still, the next day when the sun rose again, Nathan returned to the same park bench and waited. The green room. Later that week. Emily sat beside her mother, wearing the exact shade of green that her stylist claimed photographed well under flash. She smiled on cue, shook hands with donors, nodded politely at each comment about education reform. But her mind was somewhere else entirely. She had returned to the park every afternoon since their meeting. She told herself it was just for the fresh air, a break from the walls that confined her, a little freedom. But really, she was looking for him. Nathan wasn't there. Not once. Each time the bench was empty, her heart sank lower and lower. She started to doubt herself. Maybe she'd imagined the entire thing. Maybe he had been just another ghost drifting through her world of illusions.
Friday. The park.
It had rained that morning, and the bench was still damp when Emily arrived. She had half a mind to turn around and leave, but something made her sit anyway. This time, she didn't wear her designer coat. She didn't bring her phone. She just sat, staring across the fountain. And then she felt it, a shift in the air. She turned slowly, and there he was, Nathan. Same coat, same tired eyes. But he looked different somehow, taller, like he'd been waiting too.
I wasn't sure you'd come back,
She said.
I wasn't sure you would.
He replied. Silence stretched between them, but it wasn't awkward. It was thick with things unspoken, things neither of them dared say out loud.
Why are you here?
He asked finally. Emily hesitated.
Because I needed to be.
His eyes narrowed slightly.
This isn't your world. It's not yours either.
She shot back, surprising even herself. He smiled, just a flicker, and looked down. You're right. They talked for a while, about books, about people watching, about how the world moved too fast for anyone to really listen anymore. Emily learned that Nathan used to be in school for architecture, that his mom died when he was 15, that the streets weren't a choice. They were an avalanche he didn't see coming. He learned that Emily hated public speaking, that she once tried to run away during a state dinner when she was 12, that sometimes she wished she could just disappear into a crowd without everyone staring. They weren't supposed to meet. They weren't supposed to connect. But they did. And just before she stood to leave, her hand brushed his. Not by accident. He looked down at it like it was the first time someone had touched him in years. The White House. Midnight. Emily sat in her bed, knees tucked to her chest, replaying every word he'd said, every flicker of emotion, every silence. She didn't know what this was. It wasn't love. Not yet. But it was something. Something forbidden. Something dangerous. She reached beneath her mattress, pulling out the burner phone she'd kept hidden for emergencies or escape plans. Her thumb hovered over the screen before typing, "Tomorrow, same bench, 4 p.m.?" She hit send and prayed, because she knew if anyone found out about Nathan, her world wouldn't just shift. It would explode. End of chapter 2.
If this video sparked your interest, taught you something new, or simply made your day better, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you never want to miss out on content like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Your support helps us grow and keeps the content coming.